Hey, secret friends, welcome back to the Spotlight. This is our show, of course, where we talk to folks in the pop culture space that make all the stuff that we love. And we are joined this evening by the golden voice of the crabbiest Star Trek doctor there ever was, crabbier than Bones, in my opinion. We're talking to Gillian Vigman, who voiced Dr. Ta'ana on Lower Decks. Gillian, good evening. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing just wonderfully. Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's very exciting to be here and to be considered extremely crusty.
Well, the character, anyway, the character. I don't know you
I
personally, so I would never make an
listen,
assertion like that. That would be rude.
there's a linkage. There's definitely a linkage between the two.
I just watched because I was having a conversation with my buddy last night, but the 40-year-old virgin, and
Oh,
you're like, I'm not going to repeat it because it's very untoward. But I was like, that really linked that small performance right back to
oh
lower
yeah.
tax.
There's a lot. You can if you start stringing things together, you'll start seeing that I play a lot of angry, somewhat mean spirited. Underneath there's a heart. There's a
Right.
heart. A lot of swearing, a lot of really nasty things said, but it's all for the purpose of good.
I love it. Well, let's dig a little deeper. I always like to get these rolling with the simplest of questions. How did you get started in the business?
So I always thought I always liked to be funny. That was my big thing. And I ended up in college joining a comedy troupe, and I'd never done improv before. This is the 90s. So
Okay.
although improvisation had been around since the early 20th century for different reasons, it was really making this it was really starting to surge in the 90s, on college campuses, in small
Yeah.
theater groups, in bigger cities, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And a big shout out, the guys who I did it with were the Super Trooper guys.
Oh
They
God, those
were
guys.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
were my introduction to
Nice.
comedy, and I thought they were so cool. I mean, they're sort of like bros, and but I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved everything
Yeah.
about it. And honestly, they were such an influence on me, and I ended up moving to Chicago, and there I worked at Second City.
Oh yeah.
And from there, it was either New York or LA, and I chose LA because it's a little bit warmer. And
A little bit, especially
I mean,
now.
especially now. Exactly. I kept thinking, I'm like, mind you, and especially Chicago, I think about those -5-degree days, and
We
I'm
live
okay where yeah.
we're on the
Where do you
other
guys
side of
live?
Lake Michigan. We live in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Peter and I.
Oh,
So
it's
we
cold.
get it. We so
Oh,
get
it's
it. It's
cold.
so bad.
It's
It's so bad.
cold.
I love
Yes.
the cold, though, I'm weird.
I'm with you. I have to admit, like, I've lived in Los Angeles now for over 20 years, nearly 25, and I have to tell you, I'm ready to go back east. And I'm originally from New Jersey,
Oh, there you go.
so not as cold. I feel like lake effects can be very, effectively chilling,
Yeah.
and,
Mhm.
I don't need to go too far north, but I'm okay with the Northeast in certain areas.
Yeah.
So I like cold too. I'm with you. I like
Yeah.
that cold.
I love it.
So
Good
I don't know
stuff.
if I like it to be -1,
No,
but
that's a bit
I don't
much, but
mind I don't mind like a mid-20s to high 20s. I say
Yeah.
that now, but I'm
Yeah.
sitting in 72-degree weather right now, so
We had, we
anyway,
had the deepest freeze this month, and we
yeah.
just like cracked the mid 20s today, and it was great. But I
Wow.
was like, it's still okay. Like the frozen slush is coming off my car, so I'm like, this is a big
Yeah, oh my
accomplishment.
god. That's right, this is what you guys are dealing with. I
Yeah,
always forget that. It's things I don't remember. However, yeah, so I'll finish it and say I moved to LA.
please.
I got a great opportunity. I worked on Mad TV for a short time, and
Yes,
then I got to keep working, and it was a really it's been a fun ride. It's
I
been a
love
fun
it.
ride. And
Good
I
deal.
get one
Good
of
deal.
my crowning glories was getting to work on Star Trek Lower Decks.
Yes, and we'll learn about that more in a minute. Peter's got a
Yeah.
question.
alright,
Yes.
so, you've done both TV and film,
Yes.
with both of their, insane shooting schedules, to say nothing of voiceover, which has its own completely different thing.
True.
Um, what was your experience with both? Did one feel more demanding than the other, or are they just kinda different for you?
That's a great question. I think in general, I think TV, if you are a series regular or in some some capacity as that, because the hours can be really demanding. Now I say that, and I'm not talking multicam shows that are more staged, theatrically done shows, as we know, like laugh track multicam
Yeah.
shows, for those who don't know it, are on stages, and they are more set. They have rehearsals during the day, and then you go into their performance night, usually on a Thursday or Friday, or depending. And those are very clear cut. They can go really long on the shooting day and end super late at night, but in general, it's pretty cut and dry. With shows that are shot from the point of view of episodic style shows, those can be, you might be working till 3 a.m. on that Friday into
Oof.
Saturday.
Oh
And
boy.
for those who are like a number one or number two, not usually my issue, but it can be really intense, and you've got a really quick turnaround sometimes if they have to get so much done for an episode. But I would say it's sort of the most intense, but I love it because you really get to know the character. You get to know your crew, and you realize just how lucky you are to be in this sort of family, this bubble of the people you work with. Movies
Yeah.
are great. They're one-offs, and in general, I usually get to play an in and out character. So I get to fly in. Usually it's somewhere else. I fly in. I get to know the area, enjoy it, do my stuff, meet everybody, and get out. So
Yeah.
leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
No one hates me. Hopefully, at the end.
Like the celebrity. Oh, hello,
Yeah.
hello,
Yes.
goodbye.
Yeah,
Hello.
right.
Goodbye. Yeah.
Yes. Hello, hello, goodbye. So, to bounce back to talking a little bit about improv and stuff, I went to college in the 90s too, so I'm guessing you and I are probably right around the same age.
Fair. Yeah.
But I was in Chicago this past summer, ironically during a heat wave, based on what we
Oh
were
yeah.
just talking about. It was melting. This was like August. And my one buddy booked us tickets at Second City because it was like one of those
Yes.
things you just absolutely got to see. So that was incredible. And then I loved Mad TV in the 90s too. Peter's a young man, so
Yeah.
he doesn't know what the heck we're
Oh,
talking about
Peter.
here. But I was in college in the mid 90s. So there was, and I'm a lifelong devotee of SNL. I still watch every week.
Same. Yep.
But yeah, tell you kind of dig a little bit more into me about sketch comedy and improv. Like what does a week look like when you work at Second City?
Oh, it's amazing. So I predominantly worked with their national touring company. And when you work with a national touring company, there are three companies: there are red, blue, and green. Um, just like they use the typical primary colors for touring. And that means that we would rehearse during the week, and we would do the best of. So in general, we were doing the best of what was on the stages, either not currently, but anything from the past we could pick from and
Okay.
do those scenes. So we would set up a set list of what the scenes would be between two acts. We would do improv, usually somewhere in between the first and the second act, and we'd cap the show with improvisation at the end. It was a blast. So what we'd find ourselves doing in rehearsals, we'd rehearse these scenes. We would do some improv to warm up. We do some singing because there were also a lot of scenes with singing too sometimes, and a lot of there's also the whole idea of working with the audience, and this is where it can get sticky, where you might have an interaction with the audience and you have to pick somebody who's not drunk or high. Or
I was totally sober myself.
oh, fantastic. You would have been and it's because like as you watch the audience, especially if you have to interact, you want somebody who'll give you the greatest responses, but who doesn't see themselves as a star of the show. This is what I
No.
used to see all the time. And I don't even mean that in a bad way, because in general, everyone was wonderful. The audiences in general are fantastic. We went everywhere. We went everywhere from Alaska to Florida to Kansas. I've seen so many different states: Montana, Wyoming.
Oh my goodness.
It was fantastic. You'd go to colleges, you go to small theaters. So we would do the best of. We get to pick, and sometimes we could also bring in our own written material, and then we would understudy the stages. So our job was also to be the understudies for all of those on the ETC stage, which is the smaller stage, which is, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a while, Thursday through Sunday, and then the main stage, which was Tuesday through Sunday, and Monday nights, all of us national touring company would get to do our live show on those Monday nights. So you could come for a less expensive night of entertainment to watch our national touring companies
Wow.
Oh,
do
neat.
their shows in Chicago. It was such a great experience of getting your chops up, learning how to improvise with really talented people, and you get really nervous when you do the main stages because
Yeah.
you're improvising with what I would consider usually the creme de la creme, the people that you're
Right.
working with. And then to sort of learn from them, because a lot of them were also your coaches, your directors, and then you would tour with 3 women, 3 men. I don't know if it's different now, but again, this is into the 2000s. You'd have a stage manager and you'd have a musical director who helped run a lot of the technical aspects that the stage manager couldn't do. And it was and we travel in vans, guys. So many vans,
Van down by the river.
so
Nice.
much, so many stinky people. I mean,
Oh, no.
in a contained space.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I've probably not to the same extent, but I've experienced that.
Some van
Yeah,
travel.
it's like it's a lot of, and right, you feel like you're a part of like the nastiest but yet funniest family because you
Yep.
all know each other so well at this point. You're like your brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, "Oh my God, Jason, you farted again. And I know you can't smell anything, but you know you're doing it." What? What, man? So there was a lot, but it
Dude,
was
open the
really
window.
fun.
Oh.
Oh
Yeah,
my
well,
gosh.
it's a van. It's hard to open these. You can only open the front windows.
Oh, right.
Right.
It
Because the
was
90s vans.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Plymouth
old
Voyager.
school
Yeah.
vans.
Oh my gosh. Have you visited all 50 contiguous states? And would you say?
It's so funny you say that. I was just thinking about that. I think the only one I didn't was probably
Whoops, sorry for a little blip. But it was a perfect break. We just had a little dropout. But I'm gonna kick it back to Peter.
All right. So, obviously, we like Star Trek on this show. One thing that I also do is I help with a fan audio drama. I don't do a lot of the engineering stuff on it, but I help a little bit. And
yeah.
one of the interesting things to me is how actors find a character's voice. So, what were some of the inspirations you had for Tiana specifically, like how she has that specific sound?
Oh, great question. I have to tell you, part of it was, they had a description. Mike, who's just a phenomenal showrunner and creator, he had done a really good job of describing the character. And now, as we know, since it was sort of a play on the 1970s animated version, it was
Right.
phenomenal to see the original, who's this very sexy, slinky feline, and he's like,
Yes.
"I want to go 180 with this." So already I'm laughing because
Yep.
I can imagine, but I don't even know what it is. And then I auditioned the first time, and then I got to see the actual um, visual. Sorry, my dog is also trying to get me to pet him. He doesn't like cats,
No
apparently.
trouble.
Um,
Yeah.
but I saw the visual of the doctor, and I said, "Oh, I love everything about her. She is horrifying in the most beautiful way." So
The
I
grumpy
think as soon as I
disheveledness.
saw her,
Yeah.
yeah, as soon as I saw like just somebody who took such care of people, but with such an attitude, I was like, this is going to be so much fun to dig into. I mean, I really think the animation is so well done, but also so like, and I don't want to say hilarious because I don't want to take away from the artistry itself because it's beautiful stuff, like how they did
Yeah,
it,
it is.
and having
Yeah.
watched the animators and such. But just the look on the doctor's face most of the time just made me laugh, and I said, I'm going to play into this as deep and hard as I can. Just the flea bitten ears,
Mhm.
the the sort of just falling out whiskers. And there's a little bit of a stoop,
Right.
very thin. Just everything about it rang of someone who seemed like there wasn't much like it. There's the hygiene important on the inside, not so much on the outside.
Yep.
And
I
who
loved
knew
it.
that who knew the cats like nachos, which was always my
Yeah,
favorite line.
yeah, and and the libido
Oh
on
my
this guy.
god.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Just
some
Not,
stuff
through
that
the
I mean,
roof.
through the
through
roof, through the roof.
yes, like
There's so
cats.
much. I was like, I'll run with it, whatever you give me. I always joke that at one point when I was in the room taping for one of them. My son had to come with me, and at the time he was
Oh no.
about he was about 10 years old,
Oh
and
God.
they were like, "Hey, is it okay if he?" Because he was sitting with with the creative team as I was going. They're like, "Okay, Gillian, are you going to be okay letting out a string of just horrifying words right now?" And I'm like, "Ben's already heard it. It's fine." And I went ballistic because they're like, "You had just go crazy in this one." And Ben sat there totally nonplussed, and they said, "How did you think your mom did?" And he's like, "I give her 2 out of 5 stars."
Oh
Meaning
man.
he's like, basically,
Oh.
he's like, "I've heard worse at home." And I'm like, "Ben, don't ever say that again, please. I'm begging you.
God,
I don't
they're
need
gonna send
Child
CPS.
Protective
Watch out.
Services." Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He just straight up threw you under the bus for that one.
Oh
Yeah.
my. All right, we're having one of those interviews where the world's against us. So we had another break, but Jillian is such a trooper. So I'll jump in with another lower decks question. It's funny because you kind of touched upon it, what you were just talking about. What's a line of dialogue or a sequence from The Good Doctor that made you go, "Wow, this is kind of beyond anything that I would think anybody could say."
I think I think a lot of it, as much as I want to say it's all more about the medical aspects of things, because some of it got really intense and
Mhm.
nearly fetishized, disgusting. But I think,
Yep.
and I wish I could pluck a line out right now, but I can't. But I want to talk about more of the the feelings, like when I think about being on the holodeck and how what she would do to Shax.
Oh my God.
That's what I thought you might be going.
Oh
And
my
I can't
God.
help it because it's funny, and I think what I found so interesting about there's that reminder to me of like, this is a little bit off, just follow me on this. I remember finding a book that I should not have found when I was in middle school called Dead Ringers, and it was, just follow me on this. It it was about, based on a true story, so just keep this in mind. Twin brothers who became gynecologists,
Oh
and
my
then they
God.
made it, I mean, already, I think I've already made it as horrifying as you can imagine. And they both had some psychological issues, but on top of that, the story was absolutely insane, and I should not have read it at this young age. This is why I'm super good at swearing and such. But then they made it into a movie. So if you're ever bored looking for a weird movie, always, and I love they also picked the actor Jeremy Irons, who also plays
Oh,
sort of
yes.
like mildly creepy but upper crust upper
Right,
Mhm.
crust characters,
right.
and he played the twin brothers who were gynecologists. So there is that side
Nice.
to me that's where like fetish and somebody who is a medical professional can only take it up to that next level due to the fact of their knowledge, their anatomical knowledge. And
Mhm.
so I always was dying when
Oh my
Mike and the writers, and they are sick son of a guns, would
God.
have us live out fantasies, and it nearly feels very BDSM, but also weirdly loving. Like this is how she, because again, it's that Cation, like it's the mixture of non like humanoid, but with this bestial quality that would
Yep.
come in into
Yeah.
how she looked at connecting with somebody in an intimate manner. Does that make any sense?
Mhm.
Oddly so.
Yep.
And I'm sure there are people out there who are like, "Oh, listen, there are some fetishes out there, my friend." And I'd say yes, and she would join every single one of
Oh
those
my God.
clubs, groups, and she'd make Shax join even against his better judgment, only because he loves her so much.
Yep.
Oh, I know.
So
They were truly the love story of the show. There's no doubt about it.
they were the love
For sure,
story.
yeah.
They were the love story you couldn't get enough of, and
Not
you wanted to
Captain
have enough of it,
Freeman.
but it was too much.
Right. It gave us
Oh,
all ideas.
oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Oh my goodness. Well, Peter's got one more, and then I'll wrap it up because I want to talk about kind of what you're working on. So we'll we'll
Okay.
uh, we'll do that after Peter's question.
Alright, so you mentioned that you had, like, these on and off characters, so you've been on, like, a lot of different shows, having a lot of really ridiculous times with a lot of ridiculous characters. Um, is there one in particular that stands out that you would love to revisit if given the opportunity?
Oh, that is a great question. And this is going to be a little bit of a reach, but I really loved it. There was a show I did called Suburgatory.
Mhm.
No
Ooh,
one,
okay.
some people like you got to dig for it because it's over 15 years old.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
It I
Yeah.
loved it. I think it had a very specific following, and it was really just about they were sort of the characters were heightened versions of people you'd find in this very fancy neighborhood. And
Yep.
she was a very narcissistic, controlling mother, but also she saw herself as like a life coach, as a helper,
Oh boy.
and
Oh no.
she had assistants that she was just a horrible, horrible person, and I loved her. I really think, it's a little bit like watching I think I love if I get a chance again to ever play sort of the bad guy, the person who is just so narcissistic. I love it. I find it delicious. I find how they connect with people fascinating, and that's why I loved a little bit of Dr. Tana, because I loved how she presented herself, even though we knew that underneath she really was she was a feline of science. She was a Cation of science, and she cared about her Hippocratic oath, whatever that might
Mhm.
have been in Star Trek lore. Pardon me that I don't know what it was called there, but I loved
Same
that
thing,
there
yeah.
was.
Yep.
Thank you. But I love that there was a truth to her. But I kind of love characters that are unhinged and are bullies.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I like that in my real life,
Oh,
but
I
it's
hope not.
fascinating to
Yeah.
watch. They're always
Right.
fascinating to watch.
Oh my
So
gosh. That
I think
yeah.
that one was just, I mean, I'm sure I'll think later and be like, oh, what about this one? Because I love playing like high status a-holes. I'll say that.
Yeah. High
They're my
status
fave.
a-holes. There you go.
Nice.
That's the that's your next great project. High status
Yeah.
a-holes with Jillian.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be great? Entitled a-holes.
Oh
Yes,
my God.
the world we all inhabit, guys.
Oh my God. I can't wait to see it. Well, this has been, despite all the technological challenges that we've overcome to get to this point, we're wrapping things up. This has been absolutely incredible. What are you working on right now? What's going on?
Okay, this is going to sound really weird because this is a little bit of a straddle and a pivot. I have two things. One, my most recent show that I was on, I played a recurring role in a show called The Runarounds. It's really a young adult show. The wonderful Jonas Pate, who made Outer Banks,
Okay.
created a show called The Runarounds, and it's truly based on these kids who really are musically inclined. As in, he made them over COVID. They auditioned with their instruments. They sang songs. They wrote songs, and he picked the people he thought would work best together, and they created a band. And this is supposed to be a band that's leaving high school, and are they going to stay with the band, or are they going to go on with their lives and go to college and get a
Hmm,
real job? And I play one of the parents. But the cool thing about the show is that these guys can really play. They're really
that's
good.
cool.
And
Yeah.
what's really interesting is that they're on tour right now. The
Oh
Runarounds
wow.
tour. And they're and my husband's a musician, and he's like, they're really good, Jillian. Like, their songs are good. They're really professional. Some of them were some had been actors, but really they were all musicians first. So they had an acting coach on set, and I got to play one of their parents, and it was just a great show. And you can find that on Amazon Prime. So
Awesome.
that's one thing. And then this is totally out of no left field. I have also just graduated from a master's in psychology program, and I
Awesome. Congratulations.
yes, thank you. I'm soon going to be an associate. I'm an associate marriage and family therapist. And guess what I do? I swear a lot. Please don't say
Nice.
that to anything. And sometimes I have to be careful because I'm swearing with my teenagers, my adolescents. And one time, a 9-year-old that I have dropped the F bomb, and I dropped the F bomb too. And I was like, you could not tell your mom. So you guys, but I was a student therapist when that happened. I was a student therapist. Now I'm going to be a real live associate, and
You're
I'm
gonna have
Right.
working
a picture
as
of Tiana over there and like, here's my
yes.
motivation who has a
Yes.
psychology degree.
Right.
I also have, and I know this is keeping it totally private, but I have a client who's like, I know you as Dr. Tana. It's so awesome. He's like, I'm huge Trekkie. It was fantastic. And
Yes.
we took a little time. I go, okay, let me take off my therapist hat, whatever. Let's talk Star Trek. Let's talk about what you love. So he
Yeah.
listens to I will be pointing him in this direction to
Thank
be
you.
listening to the show for sure, along with
Oh
everybody
my
else.
gosh.
So I'm in the world. I'm in two worlds. The therapy world, but the world of performance and writing still. And I love it because they kind of go hand in hand. And like I said,
Yeah,
I like to play characters that I would also like to see as clients and help. But they sure are fun to learn from.
I
Terrible to
love it.
say.
I love
Terrible
it.
to
Well,
say.
since we got all cajumbled on time, I'll ask a bonus question. Because
Yeah.
we talked to Eugene Cordero a couple of weeks ago, and we asked
Love
him this
Eugene.
question.
Yes. Yes.
And we're psyched. We're trying to. I was telling somebody we're trying to collect all of the Lower Decks characters on this show. So Eugene was our first. You're number two. I'm actually talking to Vernon Smith, who draws the comic,
Love.
next week,
Yes.
and I'm going on the cruise. My wife and I are going on the Star Trek cruise, and Tawny's there, and
No.
Noelle is there. So I'm gonna, and she's met me before because I've been on the cruise before.
Lovely.
So I'm gonna try to work a little of my magic, see if we can get her on the show. So,
I'll just
and
wait.
anything that you can do to help us out, super duper grateful.
I
Um,
will. I'd shout outs galore. Absolutely.
I love it. But in your head canon, since we were talking about Star Trek and you were talking about this patient of yours, in your head canon, when the show ends, what's next for the Doctor and Shanks, Shax? What do you think happened with them?
You know what I think happened with them? I think they're still together. They are absolutely still together.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are times where she nearly pushes it too far with what she wants him to do, if you know what I'm saying. And
Oh, yeah.
she has to reel him back in. And I think maybe much like my own character, she has to do a deep dive on her own therapy and look at all of these needs. Like, it's not just, she doesn't just go to a sex therapist. She's got to go to somebody to talk to about some of her behaviors
Yeah.
and how she treats. And maybe she had attachment issues with her Cation parent. We don't know. We know that she likes to, lie in that old relic box, and
Yep.
she feels that
I love
comfort.
that.
It was not what was in the box, it was the box itself. We know that was
That's
so
cats.
important to her,
Yeah.
and that brings her back to her inner child. So I think that she's doing a deep psychoanalytical dive into her own problems, and she wants to keep and maintain this wonderful relationship with Shax. And he's the one that said, you need therapy, babe. You need therapy.
She has to go see Dr. Meatlemo, the bird guy.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh no!
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's my
That guy with all the
favorite.
food puns. I have to say, I rewatched the whole show
Oh
after it
man.
ended, and I think tomorrow I'm going to start again.
Oh, you're the
Just
best.
because it's I have a
Great.
TV in my home office, and I just have it on in the background, and it's an easy thing to have on. So,
Oh, so soothing.
oh my gosh, well,
Exactly.
Jillian, this has been absolutely incredible, and thanks for sticking in there with us with the tech stuff. But
Thank
um,
you for sticking with me with my tech stuff too.
oh my
Thank you
God,
guys.
it's been absolutely fantastic. So, everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you're listening on our Patreon, thanks for listening. If you're listening on our free feed and want to find all of our other great videos, please visit patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. I've been Charlie, joined by Peter and the absolutely terrific Gillian Vigman. Our gratitude. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
All right, take care.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.